office, when she was talking to me on the telephone, she was just so transparent and chatty even. And she's promised to send me some internal information about the budget. And I think that the county administrator, Sherry Corrier, she keeps track of those requests, and she saw my name on this request, and she squashed that request. And I haven't heard anything. No one will even return my calls and emails at the budget office anymore. But I did make a few calls myself personally and talk to some internal departments. And I asked them, if you were to have a metaphor about how many kids that you serve, children, like with the Children's Services of Manatee County, how many children, if you were going to serve dinner for 10 kids with your budget, how many kids would not get something to eat? And at least 3 out of 10 children would have to go hungry. And this is when the police are getting more deputies. I think their budget increased by 4.6%. The children's services increased by about 2%. So the priorities would have to change, because we all know that if you solve problems when people are young, they don't grow up to be troubled, or we don't have the problem with mental illness if we get people health care. We don't have violence if you give them education. So civility, incorporating dissent, and budget reform would be the things that I would immediately bring in. I don't think it would be easy, because, a write-in candidacy it's an uphill battle. But I owe it to the people who supported me and got me started. I will never say that I can't win, because I know I can. I can be the first person in history to do it with everybody's help. So,
excellent. That's a good summary there, and to tell where you'd like to take this to. We have some more time left here. We have about 10 minutes left here, or 8, whatever. And I want to go over some other issues with you in the areas that you covered here. Back to the environment here. Our environment here, part of what, as we have learned, when you have red tide in the area, the tourism will suffer, and it does hurt the economy. And the people who don't want to believe in science, don't think it's real, they woke up. Some of them actually woke up when the red tide hit us a few years ago, a couple of years ago, whatever it's been now. And I wanted to bring that up along with, if we do try to protect the environment here, we're doing this not only for our own personal benefit, but for the benefit of the economy as well, And the people who depend on these jobs that from the tourism industry, should be voters and vote and realize how important it is. If we're going to have tourism, we have to have something that will draw people to come here. People do not want to come to Florida when they have red tide and all the after effects that it affected the area here. I know people who got sick from that and so forth from breathing the spores inland even. I remember when that happened. So back on your campaign here, you do have an uphill battle as a write-in candidate, but we got to think positive here and see how many people we can get, and it could be a miracle. You could come through and win this time, but like you said, it's an uphill battle. I'll let you tell a little bit more about how you think that you could do things here to help improve. I get your civility, your transparency, and your ability to work with more people. I think is very, very positive items you brought up. Give the voters here that will be listening and some more input if you can tell them a little bit more about some of your ideas of how you could do things.
Oh, sure. The people who are against, let's say that there's a pro-environment lobby and there's the people who are against it, and these are the people who we have to persuade. Everybody knows in their heart that if we destroy nature, we're destroying ourselves. But the people who are making these laws and passing these ordinances, they depend on funding for their campaigns from people who want short-term profit, not long-term environmental benefits from their government. They can always take their profits and move to a different place, whereas the people in Manatee County who are of moderate income, this is their home. So a lot of my work on the board would be helping to organize people who want to preserve the environment, and just my presence on that board, because I'm completely free from all developer funding and even all business funding. I only accept campaign donations from individual people. And so my presence alone on the board represents change. And even if I don't prevail in this election, the agenda that we're bringing forth is still going to be valuable for the future. We have Dominique Brown coming onto the board in District 1, I believe, and I'm doing everything I can to support her candidacy. So I think that change is on the horizon, but my talents and strengths are, all of my professional background is in communications and customer relations. I worked on Siesta Key back in the 1980s, customer relations work, helping individual people solve problems. And the skill that gives me is I can listen to someone and listen to their concerns and actually put it into ordinances and put it into the operation of the board, instead of saying, oh, okay, well, does this interest check off one of the priorities of someone who gave me money through a PAC? So communication skills, listening to people, and just having the right values is going to be very beneficial for my constituents when I'm elected.
Excellent. That's a great summary there to tell a little bit more about where you're coming from there too. And you have a good point. Yes, with the agenda that you're bringing forward will at least get people to open their eyes and start thinking a little bit more. And again, as I just said a minute ago, if we destroy the environment here, we're destroying our economy. Literally, we're destroying it. And because so much of the Florida economy depends on tourism and the ability to be able to attract people to move here, where will the developers be then? If and I don't understand their short-sightedness. You said it well. They can pick up and move, and they don't really care much what's going to happen to the disaster. Short-term profits over long-term disaster that they're causing. And it's happened, Chris, as I'm sure you know, it happens all over the world. The horror stories. I spent more than 16 years of my life outside this country, and they have other horror stories going on right now. Well, let's give an example, quick example. I'll give you one quick example. And the Amazon, they call it the lungs of the world, and the rate of deforestation that's going on down there and the destruction. It's unimaginable. It really is. And what that's going to do long term to the planet here. We already have climate change rapidly coming on us at an incredible pace. And if we keep this up, where will we be? What's going to happen to us? I was just commenting the other day. I was at lunch with a friend, and we happened to look at some notices there coming over his iPhone about the weather. And he said every day it's above normal. I said, yes. Can you actually remember when we had days continually that were below normal? I said everything is always, the temperature is always above normal, always some of the hottest days ever in history, coming at us. And it's going to continue.
That's right.
So anyway, we've got to wrap up here. We have about a minute and a half left, Chris. I want to give that to you. So tell us again, summarize again what you'd hope to accomplish here, and then we will finish up, okay?
Sure thing. My candidacy is about including dissent and restoring civility to the operations of our county board. And I'd like to tell people just about the process of change. You mentioned the Amazon. That's a great example. Another example that is very similar to what Manatee County is going through now is if you look up on the internet, Geraldine Watson, her activism in saving Texas's Big Thicket Preserve. She spent decades fighting the lumber companies, and their argument was that it would just destroy the economy of that area. And it turns out the lumber industry did just fine, and now people are drawn to the Watson Preserve because it preserves botanical diversity that is available nowhere else. And in the Amazon, we know that there are species of plants and animals there that we haven't even cataloged yet. But it's not just stopping at the Amazon. Deep sea environments are now being targeted for dredging to bring up oil or minerals or something. So we all have to be aware of the price that we're going to pay. One of the strongest arguments that the other side tries to use is that environmentalism is elitist, because how dare we deny people of the Amazon commercial development? But we have to think about there's nothing more elitist than extracting profit from a naturally sensitive area and then leaving the people there to deal with the aftermath in terms of human health, species loss. So look at the Big Thicket model, I would say. God did not create humans with an abundant, inexhaustible resource. God made humans as stewards of the natural world. And I would just say, people, we don't have to know exactly what the right thing to do is. We just need to get out there and do something good or help someone. You probably won't get an immediate result, but the personal reward will be great, and the world needs your work.
Thank you so much, Chris. You've done an excellent job here today, and I'm going to sign off now. Again, thank you, Chris, for being here, and let us know if we can help you in any way. I'm going to give your email address here. People want to email you, want to help. That is chrisgilbert11@gmail.com. CHRIS.
It's Chris L. Gilbert. Chris L. Gilbert11@gmail.com.
Excellent. Okay. Thank you so much, Chris. And thank you for listening, and we hope you have enjoyed today's discussion. This has been Coastal Progressive and Rainbow Forum on Society Bites Radio, and I have been your host, Steve Ryan.